Genesis 8. And God remembered Noah and all the beasts and all the cattle that were with him in the ark. And God caused the wind to pass over the earth, and the water subsided. Also the fountains of the deep and the floodgates of the sky were closed, and the rain from the sky was restrained. And the water receded from the earth, going forth and returning, and at the end of 150 days the water decreased. In the 7th month, on the 17th day of the month, the ark rested upon the mountains of Ararat. And the water decreased steadily until the 10th month. In the 10th month, on the 1st day of the month, the tops of the mountains appeared. Then it happened at the end of 40 days that Noah opened the window of the ark which he had made. And he sent out a raven, and it went out flying back and forth until the water was dried up from the earth. Then he sent out a dove from him to see if the water was abated from the face of the land. But the dove found no resting place for the sole of its foot. So it returned to him into the ark, for the water was on the surface of all the earth. Then he stretched out his hand and took it and brought it into the ark to himself. Then he waited yet another 7 days, and again he sent out the dove from the ark. And the dove came to him toward evening, and behold, in its beak was a freshly picked olive leaf. So Noah knew that the water was abated from the earth. Then he waited yet another 7 days and sent out the dove, but it did not return to him again. Now it happened in the 601st year, in the 1st month, on the 1st of the month, the water was dried up from the earth. Then Noah removed the covering of the ark and looked, and behold, the surface of the ground was dried up. In the 2nd month, on the 27th day of the month, the earth was dry. Then God spoke to Noah, saying, Go out of the ark, you and your wife and your sons' wives with you. Bring out with you every living thing of all flesh that is with you, birds and animals and every creeping thing that creeps on the earth, that they may swarm on the earth, and they may be fruitful and multiply on the earth. So Noah went out, and his sons and his wife and his sons' wives with him. Every beast, every creeping thing, every bird, everything that moves on the earth went out by their families from the ark. Then Noah built an altar to Yahweh, and took of every clean animal and every clean bird, and offered burnt offerings on the altar. And Yahweh smelled the soothing aroma, and Yahweh said to himself, I will never again curse the ground because of man, for the intent of man's heart is evil from his youth. And I will never again strike down every living thing as I have done, while all the days of the earth remain, seed time and harvest, and cold and heat, and summer and winter, and day and night shall not cease. What's interesting here is how well that Noah waited, verse 10, waited, verse 12. And even after sending out the raven and the dove, in verse 13, he even looked and saw that the surface of the ground was dried up. He still didn't leave the ark. I imagine being stuck on the boat for months and months and months and months with animals. It's probably loud, probably stinky. I would be eager to leave. But Noah, he wouldn't leave until, verse 15, God spoke to Noah. After Noah received God's mandate, which we've heard before, verse 17, be fruitful and multiply on the earth. So verse 18, so Noah went out. Therefore, after God spoke, then Noah moves. Isn't that a beautiful thing? We're not in a hurry. We want to go with God's timing. And when he leaves the ark, it's not that he just does whatever he wants. Verse 20, Noah built an altar to Yahweh. He was eager to worship, and that worship was a soothing aroma to God. Isn't this what a believer is? Someone who walks with God, someone who is not in a hurry to do his or her own thing, but to live every step grounded by God's commands. And if there's anything that we're eager to do, it's to worship God. These are my thoughts. Looking forward to hear yours.